Hi, it's Jane, and it's time for WOTWIP and coffee. And I do have iced coffee in my cup today. Just plain iced coffee with a little bit of cream, a little bit of sweetener. I thought today I have a basket over here that's got the little squares I've been making for Billy. So I'm just going to continue working on making some squares. Right now I'm making them, granny squares. I really have not had time to sit down and crochet. And that is something that, I really need for my sanity to keep me calm. And not only that, but I think it helps to relax me a little bit each and every day. Been running a little tense this week. So, I'm due for some decent crochet time. And decided I am going to sit down, I'm going to crochet, do the things I want to do. I do need to get a couple other videos filmed and done, and I'll work on those as I go. I do have another shout out coming out. I don't think I did a shout out yesterday. I can't remember if I'd filmed one, put it up or not. I will tell you generally what I do with shout outs is I will film them as I find the channels, film them ahead of time, and then put those lists up, and then schedule the videos to come out each week. And I don't think I had one up this week. I'm not real sure if I did or not. Just because every day I've been out, I get out there about 5:30 in the morning to work on cutting that bamboo and getting some of those weeds and things taken care of that are out there. And then, of course, because by the time I do come in, about 4 hours later, I'm hot, I'm sweaty, I'm tired. So I sit down and just kind of veg out. This is the best way I can explain it, because it just wears me out completely. And I've had folks tell me, well, why don't you hire somebody? I have been trying to find somebody to do that. There is the cheapest landscaping company that I have found that would be willing to come out and do those kind of things, work on it, and help me get the topsoil out on there. And they're wanting for the topsoil, for the delivery of the topsoil, spreading that. They're wanting, I think it was $7,000 for that. And then on average about $3,000 a month for continuing to work each month on that. And I just don't have that kind of money. So that's just not going to happen. So that means I get to do it. I have talked with someone about bringing some topsoil out, and I believe he quoted me a price of a nice big truck full, probably about $1,500. So I'm working towards saving the money for that, to get that fella out here to at least get the topsoil so I can start working it, doing the things that I want to do. I did find when I was out there, and I'll put a picture here of it. It is mullein, and I had no idea that it's used for all kinds of things, and all kinds of whatnot and teas and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, why couldn't I have a yard full of that instead of about 4 or 5 of those plants out there? And it does grow wild here. There's some along some of the roadside, that kind of thing. But kind of laughing about that. And of course, I've got the yellow blossoms. I believe they come in a peach blossom, a white blossom, and I want to say almost a pink blossom, reddish pink. But when I walked out there and saw that, I was like, what is that? It reminds me of yucca. The house that I had in New Mexico, we had a yucca plant on the corner of the street that prevented a lot of view for the cars that had to stop there because it was a 4-way stop. And I kept asking to cut it because it is the national flower or plant of New Mexico. So I had to request permission from the state to cut it back. And of course, they kept denying it. And so finally, I requested that one of the personnel that was denying it come out to the intersection and tell me whether or not it was a safe intersection. The person came out and couldn't see around the corner, needed to get further down the road, and not only did that person give me permission to cut that yucca plant back down, he helped me. So, yeah, but it just reminded me of the yucca, the way that the blossoms go up on the very one stalk, it seems like. So that was a rather neat, interesting thing to see. Yeah, that is what I've been doing mostly, and as well as going through a lot of things, like I said, that I had moved. I found all kinds of things that I was like, I don't even know why I moved that. Did find Thomas's yearbooks, those kind of things. And I had asked his family if they wanted them. Because it really, they're not something I'm going to go back look at. Those are Thomas's memories. We didn't go to the same high school, and I don't know most people in the books, and why would I sit and look at them, those kind of things. So, one of the things I opted to do was, well, I guess I could clean them out and, send them off to the recycle place. Take the boards out to put in the cardboard recycling. So I don't know. I still haven't decided. And I kind of had a question about what to do with his degrees. I have all of his degrees, mounted, matted, mounted, those kind of things. I mean, I was there with him for most of those degrees. And yeah, I was very proud of him. But that was his thing. I'm not the type of person that I put up, my degrees on the wall. My nursing license, I never did that kind of thing. Kept them in a file cabinet. So if I needed it for documentation or whatever. But, so I'm like, now what do I do with those? And I did have a friend that told me that I should hang on to them for a little while, determine, what I should do with them. I may decide I want to do put them up in a room, whatever. I'm like, I don't see me doing that. But who knows? Did find a lot of interesting things. I found Thomas had gone to a convention in, I believe it was Ontario, Canada. So, of course, he collected some of the money, some of the doonies and loonies and whatever they're called, to bring those back because he found them interesting and amusing. So I did find a small container that had all of that kind of stuff. And that, I'll probably set that aside just because, maybe make a display of it, because that was rather fun when he did come back and we were talking about those kind of things. I did go through a lot of books, magazines, get rid of a lot of those things. Books, I've been sending them on to the Salivating Army, with the exception of a couple of the books. A couple of the books I put online on eBay, because they're hard to find books, those kind of things, to try to sell those. Had thought about putting them on thrift books, but I don't know if I want to go that route all the way around anyway. And Thomas was a gamer. I was not into games. I just never really got into it. And did sell his Game Boy and a bunch of games to someone who would enjoy those. The PS4, I'm still looking for the cords for it so I can list it with a couple of the games that he had. And because I'll never use them, to be honest. And we had a Wii, but never really used it. And can't find the remote to the Wii. He does have one of those handheld remotes. But with the Wii, he had the baseball bat, the tennis racket, and all of that. And if I remember correctly, the actual Wii remote goes into it. So I'm still looking for that. But he's got a bunch of games and all kinds of accessories for that. He was the type of person, when he got into something, he bought the whole 9 yards, And I just never took interest in it. My big thing was I was going to work out at the senior center and, do the walking. And now I've been doing a little bit of the infinity hoop. I've been doing that and some other exercises. So that's kind of where my talent lies when it comes to that kind of thing. I'm just not into the handheld games. Although I do play some games online. But that's, generally that is my iPad late at night before I go to bed, or, in the afternoons if I'm a little bored. Feel like, oh, well, let me go play a little game. And most of mine are word games. I prefer word games over everything. So, and Thomas and I used to occasionally break out the Scrabble. We would play Scrabble. It used to irritate him no end that I would beat him at Scrabble. One of the other games that we had one, it's called Go, and it is one of the, I want to say it's a Chinese game. And it's a little bit of strategy and mental, type game. So that was always kind of fun to play. And we were pretty even on that one, you know, when it came to the end score, that kind of thing. And then, of course, you know, husband was a big fan of Minions. So we have a treble game that is Minions. And that was always fun to play, just because it's Minions. And we're both fans of Minions. So, yeah, those are some things that we used to do all the time. That kind of thing. Watch TV. His big thing was the watching movies, and of course, he was a type, like I said, he used to watch Harry Potter every day. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the Harry Potter series, and I do go back and watch it every once in a while. But watching it every day, I just was not into that. And that is something he liked to do. He didn't always enjoy I was a big crime fan. You know, I liked watching some of the different crime shows on TV, seeing if we could solve them, those kind of things. And, you know, who doesn't like Lifetime or Hallmark? Now, he did like that. He did enjoy watching Hallmark, which I did think was funny. So we did a lot of that when we were together, talking, you know, those kind of things in each other's company. But many times he was sitting next to me playing Final Fantasy, or I think he had a Star Wars edition on the PS4 they used to play. I don't remember if he had Lord of the Rings. For some reason, I think there was a Lord of the Ring games that you used to play as well. And that was another movie he liked to watch a lot of. Of course, anytime the Minions were on, we watched the Minions, you know, because Despicable Me, who doesn't love Minions? But yeah, those were the kind of things that we did together. And those things I do miss. I find myself not very often turning the TV on. I do watch YouTube. I do a lot of sewing, and lately I've been into the diamond painting. So I've been doing a little bit more of that kind of thing. So, but TV, just, I don't know. I find I don't watch it as often as I used to. And that's fine. You know, I'm finding out I'm not really missing a whole lot. Which I thought was rather interesting, you know. Used to be I couldn't wait for a new season of TV. Now I could care less. And the cats have been like I said, the cats have been having a great time. You know, getting into the boxes with me and seeing what's in there, and of course, sniffing everything. And that has been a lot of fun watching those cats do some of that stuff. Now, there were a couple of things that I had in one box that my old cat, Caitlin, those were the things that she used to like laying on, touching. So, of course, the cats were rather interesting when I opened up that box because they were all over it, you know, rubbing on it and marking it to mark their territory, letting her know it's no longer hers, it's theirs. So, yeah, that was rather interesting to see. Some of the things I did today, I went out and went to the one of the Amish markets to get some vegetables. And I was rather surprised because when I go to Walmart, I see the ears of corn, 50 cents a corn, you know, per ear. You go out to the Amish and it's 75 cents. Prices are outrageous. It used to be you could get a bag of fresh grown green beans out there for about $2. Now it's $3. So, yeah, don't tell me inflation's not real. And the only good thing is one of our local grocery stores here, Wise Store, opened up a gas station. And their aim is to keep gas prices lower, which so far they are the lowest in the area. And of course, Sheetz is not happy. Sheetz is kind of like a Wawa or a Buc-ee's, has a little bit of everything, 7-Eleven, that kind of thing. And they're not happy because they can't compete with gas prices. They can, let's put it that way. They don't want to. Because they all get their gas from the same distributor. So there's no reason for the gas prices to be extremely different. The only difference is some of the different places will add different additives to the truck. Some of them will use, and pretty much most of them use pretty much the same additives. Because of all the EPA standards, those kind of things. So, I don't know. I was seeing where California's governor just signed a bill into law where schools do not have to notify parents of their child's wish for gender reassignment. Folks, I have an issue with that. That's kind of like if your child has some kind of mental, social disorder, something else that's going on in school, and you're not aware of it, but the school is, I think they should by law be required to let you know about it so that you can either help that child or get the help the child needs. So, of course, nowadays they're not really teaching classes, what they used to do in school. They're too busy indoctrinating our children. And that's kind of scary. Scary to see. I think we swing back and forth on this pendulum from absolutely ridiculous to not giving a flip sometimes. And I don't think either extreme is good for us as a country. But I do find that interesting. And I'm sorry, I think parents should be aware of that so that they can help their child with it. And help guide that child on medical interventions if that's what's needed, that's what they're wanting. Because children are not mature enough to make some of the decisions. And there's a part of me that goes, why are we giving these children cancer-causing drugs for them to reassign their gender? I mean, that's scary in itself. And does the child understand that risk? No. I mean, let's be real. They're kids. They don't make often the wisest decisions. And I'll use my own daughter as an example. So, she at one point when she was 15 decided that she was gay, that she was a lesbian. So we just talked about it, and I've accepted my children for what they are, who they are, regardless. And we talked about it and whatnot. And she spent one summer enjoying a rather, I guess, gay life, if you want to call it that. And then when she got back and she met this guy, fell in love with him, got married, and then we discussed it later on. And she said, "Mother, you knew I wasn't gay." I said, "Yes, I knew you weren't." I said, "I always thought that you were probably bisexual just because of the way that you would have a crush on a girl and a boy." She said, "Well, why didn't you say anything to me?" And I said, "Because that was your journey. That's not my journey. And why should I tell you who you are?" That basically is a journey that each and every one of us goes through. So we had a good talk about that, and she realized that what I had done was probably the best thing for her at that point in time. I don't know if I can get another granny square out of that, but maybe we'll do a partial. So, yeah. But that is something that I've always done with my children, is to always have an open conversation, regardless of what it's about. Whether I agreed with what they wanted, what they were talking about doing, that was not my choice to decide that, but it, however, was my responsibility to make sure that I was there, one, to let them know always that I love them, regardless of their choice in life, that I was there for them. They could always come to me. We could discuss things, talk things out, talk out our problems, whatever it was that was going on. And it has always worked for us. So, and I have seen the other end of this. As many of you know, my one son is gay. And I have seen through him so many parents that totally turn against their child. Is the best word I can say. Is they will no longer have conversation with them. They won't honor their decisions. They won't allow them to make those decisions, but then they'll choose not to have anything to do with them. And that is something I don't understand. They're your children, Our children make mistakes. We make mistakes. I think our job is to love and nurture them as best as we can. And to be there when they need to have someone talk to. So, but not everybody goes by what I believe in. And that's okay, because that's what makes us individuals. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't give each other the respect as a human being. Even if we differ, politics, those kind of things. And I always find it funny that folks that disagree with me politically, that will just blast like crazy. "I have nothing to do with you." Like, okay, whatever. I think we can all have difference of opinion and still get along. So, there's that. And I'm not going to have enough to finish this block. So, we'll make it a varied block. Although I could probably find another cake or ball of your white yarn. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to just finish working on this. You know, get it done. And I don't know that I'm going to have enough to get to the next round. Yeah, maybe. Nope. Not going to have enough to get to the next round. So, to even finish the round. I don't like when that happens. But it is what it is. Even tightening down on my stitches, I don't think I'm going to have enough. Maybe. Oh, it's going to be real close. Yep, it's real close. Very close. Got a little partial skein. Let's add some green to it. But, yeah, anyway, so what are you guys working on today? And how has your week been going? You know, I sit here and yammer on this end, but you guys don't get to talk to me much, and I'd like to know what's going on with you guys. Maybe I should do WOTWIP as a live. What do you guys think? Then that way at least I could see what you're talking about. Of course, I probably wouldn't concentrate on what I'm doing, but it might be interesting to do a WOTWIP live next time. So let me know what you think about that. Maybe we will, maybe I will, maybe I won't. So yeah. And what is going on in your neck of the woods? How is life treating you? And I while I'm here, I am going to apologize to those who came to the live with Connie Saturday. I was late, and it was clearly a technology issue. I went to open up my Chrome. It would not open, so I had to re-download it to get it to open, to go into StreamYard. That's the only thing I don't like about StreamYard. It's because it won't work with Safari. And most of the time I do use Safari. But, yeah, I do apologize. Apologize to Connie. Apologize to everyone who came to that live for being late. That was my boo-boo, my complete mistake. I thought I was ready to go, but who knew it was going to be an issue with technology? Don't you hate when that happens? I know I do. I hate when I go in and, like, my Mac has updated, and then I've got to find things because they rearranged it or they changed something. So annoying. Same thing with the phone. You know, when you do an update on your phone and then it moves all things around, it's like, why do you do that? Stop it. Can't you leave it the way I had it arranged? I mean, I understand why it doesn't because of the way technology works, but it would be nice if they would just let it alone. But I understand they gotta fix the bugs, those kind of things, and I guess there was a little bit of a technology bug that was going around there that Chrome had to fix, so. And I guess part of that's my fault because I don't use Chrome that often, you know? And I've been seeing, I was listening this morning to the radio when I went to run some errands and mail a couple packages off. Apparently there's some kind of outage that's taken down different systems, and one of the security systems that runs those kind of things is the first one that was hit. So some of the airlines are having issues, and of course that's going to back up travelers, and they'll miss flights and whatnot, and I don't know. So yeah, this is an interesting time that we live in. We have become so dependent on technology that when it fails, we don't know what to do. I can remember when I was working at, and I will date myself, I was working at a restaurant called Burger Chef. And back then, there were computers that were actually, not computers, registers that were plugged in to electricity to run. And but they weren't dependent on computer, that kind of thing, software to run. However, when there was an outage, the company, they had a backup for their cooking, those kind of things, so they could cook at least, and the lights were dimmed a little bit. And of course, when the electricity for the cash registers went out, there was a mechanism to run them manually. Like way back in the times of Laura Ingalls, that kind of thing. That's the first thing I think of, So, and of course, back then we knew how to count change back. I see people struggle with that every time. They've got to look up at the cash register to see what amount to give back, and they don't count it back to you because many of them don't know how to count it back to you. Do you remember the days when we would go to the grocery store and we'd spend $6.35, give them a $10 bill, and they'd count back our change? Here's 45, 50, 75, 7, 8, 9, 10. People can't do that hardly at all today. So, yeah, I do find that rather interesting. The things that we have come through and the things that we have made idols. Our phones. Can we survive a day without our phone? And let me tell you this, I have friends. There have been times that I have put my phone on the charger in the bedroom and walked off, not answered the phone, not looked at email, not looked at text messages or anything else. And then when I go back in later on that evening, they were all, ready to send out the state police to check on me. And I'm like, there were times we didn't even have phones. So yeah, we have changed as a society. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, because of our reliance on those technology wonders. So yeah. All right, guys, I think I have chatted long enough. Let me know if you think maybe a live WOTWIP and coffee, whether you'd be interested or not, and maybe I'll consider it. I'll tell you, I'm really nervous about doing lives, but, I guess you get over that once you'd start doing it. So maybe I should try a few lives here or there. All right, guys, that is it. I'll see you again next week. Everybody remember to have a great week. Be a little kinder to yourself and to others. I'll see you soon. Bye.